Today we're looking at the things that AI might not tell you about Range Rover Classics. So often if you're going to buy a V8 gasoline powered Range Rover from Europe, you'll find that it has an LPG additional fuel system installed. This was for many reasons back in the day. It allowed first and foremost for slightly better gas mileage, but most of all it allowed you to enter certain areas of center of cities that were locked off otherwise because of pollution, yada yada. The problem is if you have one of those systems still installed, it means you have a giant tank full of LPG gas, which is very flammable and dangerous, and they won't let you on a ship to transport it to the United States like that. So the first step is to remove it, which means it's quite invasive, so you need to have a professional do it for you. Irregardless of if you buy a V8 gasoline or a diesel-powered Range Rover Classic, very often back in the day, people would opt to install the Vogue deeper and bigger front end because it looked cooler. What wasn't cool about it is the cooling, meaning it stopped air from getting in, and that meant a lot of vehicles overheated because they were never intended to have that specific front end. Because of that, they would often overheat, and they got, especially the diesels, got like bad reputation for overheating, burning head gaskets. If the cooling system is efficient and you don't block it off, they're actually quite all right, but that's something to check before buying one. On that note, something to check and a relatively cheap insurance is to just replace the expansion tank for the coolant system. After 30, 35, sometimes 40 years, that plastic becomes brittle. When it gets pressurized, kaboom, and you're left stranded. Moving on the inside, unless they had the higher option package where they had leather, most of these vehicles would have a velour interior, which they actually, they're quite resistant to the passage of time. They'll show quite all right, actually better the outside than the inner foams. What they're not good at, and never were, is in the summertime. Velour interior is horrible in the summertime, even with AC. So our suggestion is always to upgrade it to either leather or leatherette and just make it a nicer interior. A cool tidbit of information that helps people looking to upgrade their Range Rover Classic is the wheel pattern and the spacing is very similar to that of the Defender of the similar age, so a Defender Classic, let's call it. So you can have whatever wheels fit on the Defender will fit here. The hood, being made of aluminum, is very light and very nice, but it's suspended on springs, so it's kind of bouncy and wobbly. It's very important that when you open, and especially when you close it, you do it from the center where the latch is, not from the corners, otherwise you risk bending it. A cool connection between this vehicle and the United States is actually that when you buy a V8 Range Rover, the engine is actually based off of a 1970s Buick unit, which means, yeah, it's cool, it's quite robust, but if you expect, V8 power, just because it is a rather large displacement V8, you'll be disappointed. It's an older style engine that has been over the years upgraded to, perform a little bit better, but all in all, it has great sound, not that great on fuel consumption and not that powerful, but still smooth, comes with an automatic gearbox as an option, so it's a preferred version to bring to the United States. On a last note, you'll find very often that interior plastics, not so much the dashboard, but like all the controls, the shrouds, the vents, the plastic as it ages becomes extremely brittle, and when you take it apart to fix it, repair it, dye it, whatever it is, they really fall apart in your hands, so expect to have to spend some time sourcing those parts. As in other videos of this series, AI is a great starting point to understand what to look for if you're looking for one of these vehicles. But the reality of it is, like any other classic vehicle, they're quirky, these more than others. So it's important to have somebody that knows what they're doing help you avoid costly mistakes.